All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back. Day 5, Copy Hour. Thank you guys for stopping by. Let me hide this. Let me bring this up. Today, we are talking about headlines a little bit. And this was an interesting assignment. It's a little bit probably, it's difficult in a way because we need to kind of go through the research process before we can come back and really understand how it's working. It's one of those things where the more times that you do it, the easier it becomes and the more it makes sense, everything that we're doing. So, for this particular assignment, I can understand it if it's challenging. And one of the most challenging parts of it is the fact that we're taking old headlines and trying to make them modern, which can be very difficult. It's not exactly easy. And for some of them, it just doesn't work. And you also want to avoid one of the most common problems with swiping is what ends up happening is that you end up using language that just doesn't work for modern day. It's language from the past. And that's why a lot of people get hung up on looking at older ads and don't really understand that we're really just studying ideas and we're studying history. We're not trying to recreate the old ads that we're studying. We're trying to modernize them because the underlying principles work. The underlying principles are sound. And that's really what we're trying to do. And then also you can use that same concept of use the underlying principle, but use it in the way that you want in the ethical sense. If you come across an ad that you're not feeling is super ethical, then what you can do is take that ad and try to use some of the underlying principles and make them ethical. And yeah, so you can make it modern, you can make it ethical, you can fit it to your particular voice, and that's kind of the challenging part. But if you never study the history, then you never are going to have those ideas in the back of your brain when you're sitting down. You'd be like, oh, this is like that one headline I read in that Vic Schwab ad. Or maybe I could use kind of a headline like that. Or maybe in some cases, it's even just like the hand copying helps with the memory. It's really the only science that we have. And memory of a language learning. But also, I feel like it helps with just categorize. It's almost like your own little research tool. So you're sitting down, you're writing, you're like, I need a headline here, or I need a subheadline. And you're like, oh, wait, you know what? I think there might have been something in that old Vic Schwab ad that we looked at. And then you go back in your email, you search for Vic Schwab, and there's your copy hour assignment. You can pull it up, and then you've got this ad here that you can take a look at and see if there's any sort of concepts that you can find. So that's kind of handwriting in a nutshell. It's a memory tool in a lot of ways, and it helps speed things up. Even though it takes a long time or it's slower when you're going through it, it definitely can help in the long run with speeding things up and speeding up your process. So one thing I will mention, I got this in the mail from Leaf Filter, and this is a company that we look at quite a bit in Copy Hour. And it appears to be handwritten. It's like a different font. And it's a pretty good ad, a pretty good piece of direct mail because it looks different than everything else that you're seeing out there. There are a couple things here that are like bordering on shady. So I don't know if you can see this. I'm trying to get it right here. It says 15% off your entire purchase plus additional 5% off to the first 50 callers. Now, that's the type of thing. The underlying concept here is scarcity. And it's the scarcity principle, or the underlying scarcity concept, is something that a lot of people don't include when they really should. It's one of those principles or concepts that is so powerful when it comes to persuasion that if you're not using it in your copy or your business model, you are losing out. You're missing out. So it's one of those underlying principles that you must use, you should use, you should start thinking about how you can use it. There's a reason why a lot of information products are there's no unit scarcity on information products, but there is the ability to open and close something or have a group cohort go through like I do with CopyHour. There's that potential to include scarcity by getting a little creative, and it doesn't have to be shady. So this idea of the first 50 callers getting an extra 5% off, if it's true, and I hope it's true, and I can't say for sure without talking to the company, if it's true, that's a smart thing to do. That's a smart bit of scarcity to add in. So if you are of the mindset that you don't want to include something like that, if it's not true, which is the right thing to do, then maybe there is a way that you can make it so that only the first 50 callers are getting it. Maybe you can make it so that only the first 50 people that do this are going to get to take advantage of something when they buy your product. Another way that I discussed in a previous email is maybe you can make it so that up until certain thresholds, so if like 50 customers, the first 50 customers get this price, then the next 100 customers get a slightly higher price, then the next 250 customers get a slightly higher price than that, so that the price is going up. So it's incentivizing people to act quickly, and there's a little bit of that scarcity underlying principle or concept where people want to get in before it goes to the next tier. So why am I even mentioning scarcity? Why am I even mentioning this? Because I'm coming back to these headlines where you have to take principles and concepts that you're seeing out in the world and out through history when it comes to advertising, and you need to modernize them and apply them to whatever you're doing. And maybe that application is going to be a more ethical application. Maybe that application is just going to be a more modernized application. And maybe it's just literally just an application of, I need to fit this into my business and fit this into how we do things. So anyways, that's, a long-winded explanation that hopefully is helpful in some way. Okay, so let's look at some of these headlines. And I guess quickly before I do that, we are not going to have daily phone calls for CopyHour moving forward. As you can tell, these are public videos that are really designed for a private setting. So what I'm going to be doing moving forward is going to be scheduling Zoom phone calls where we can jump on those as a group, a private group, and we can watch the Zoom. You can watch the Zoom, and I can do reviews in there, and more of like a weekly wrap-up phone call for you guys. And these videos that I'm going to be doing on YouTube are going to be a little bit more for the public sphere. Sphere is not a word. Sphere. So that's basically how things are going to be going. Also, right now we've got the weekend launch party is in action. If you want to learn about this process that I have for launching a business in a weekend, I mean, it's like 8 days, right? So the week is spent kind of teaching you how it's going to work, and then the weekend is spent setting things up. So the weekend launch party is really just the start a business challenge. I just think weekend launch party sounds more fun, more interesting. So if you're interested in joining that, that's going to be kicking off next week. I found this company called Circle that does these nice little communities that almost look exactly like Facebook, but a lot cleaner and not so many, random things happening like on Facebook, no ads or anything. So we're going to be using that group and going forward, and I'm going to show you my process for launching a business. And just quickly, what that process entails is you just pick a market. You're just picking a market to start. Then I'm going to show you one of 3 different ways to start getting people onto an email list in just the general market, right? And then from there, we get them on the email list. And once you have somebody on an email list, you have a business. You have a business. And then what we do is we survey those people using a smart survey method, not the normal type of survey that you would think, that gets at exactly what people want. Exactly what people want, which is really hard to do with a traditional survey. Then from there, you're going to see exactly what people want in that market, what they're looking for, what some of their struggles are. And then from there, you decide on what type of model and what type of product to go forward with. So it is a ready, fire, aim type methodology for launching a product. And that's basically it. So if you're a copywriter or a consultant, marketing person, and you want to just start building your own list, this is a really good thing for you to do. And a lot of people on my CopyHour list are in this boat where they want to learn copywriting. They would love to be a freelance copywriter, but at the same time, you can run something on the side like this. You can launch this in a weekend to test something. You can run it to a general market and then see what people need within that market. And maybe you just end up being an affiliate marketer and you're just sending people off to affiliate products. But the important part is to get people onto an email list to just start seeing what it is exactly they want. And then you can move forward from there. But once you have somebody on an email list, you have a business, okay? You have a business. And you can run simple stuff like challenges, like the weekend launch party is a challenge product. CopyHour started as a challenge product where it's literally like, hey, I'm going to be learning copywriting. Does anybody want to join me? And boom, from there, that's how CopyHour started. That's basically how CopyHour started, right? I was in an entrepreneurial group called the Dynamite Circle. I said, hey, I'm going to run this 30-day challenge on copywriting. At the time, I was involved in a publishing business, and I was like writing all of our copy basically. And from there, I was like, I want to get better at copy. And then this was like 2011 or 12, and from there, that's how CopyHour started. I was like, I'm going to do this. Everybody's paying $20, kind of including myself, just for a little bit of if you pay attention, which is an extremely important concept. And that's how CopyHour ended up getting launched. It's a challenge product. So you don't have to have a completely solid idea to take part in the weekend launch party. You don't have to have a completely, you don't have to be an uber expert. You're just picking a market, getting people on an email list using one of 3 different ways that I'll show you. And then using the survey method that I have, you move forward from there. That's it. Okay. I guess this is like a little ad within within the CopyHour content here. Okay, so that's that. Before we look at this ad, which is the Vic Schwab 100 Good headlines ad, what we're going to do is look at this chart for a second. And what we're doing with this, so this assignment that we had, which is to just look at the headlines here and try to model them for modern times, look at the ones that we like the best and try to model them for modern times or for our particular product or both. And that was basically, and we're in the past, I had people kind of make a guess about which type of lead it might be or which type of headline it might be. Was it a story headline? Was it a proclamation? Was it a secret, problem solution headline, a promise offer? Which one of those is it? It is difficult to do that when you don't really know what leads are, when you haven't been through the lead process yet. So we've got 8 different types of leads that is coming very, very soon. You might be shocked to know that next week is not leads, which is the start of a sales message. We're going to be looking at the offer next week because you need to look at your product first, figure out its features and benefits, and that is going to often help dictate what your lead's going to be. Often, not always, but often it's going to help dictate what your lead's going to be because you're going to kind of come back to similar benefits all the time. And then you're like, okay, this is what this product does for people, right? And so if you start the sales message with this is the main thing that you're concerned about, this is the main benefit of this product, that might be the best way to begin your sales message, to enter the conversation with people. Okay, so that's why we start with the offer. And often when you sit down to write, all you have is your book. All you have is your product. All you have is your whatever it is that you're selling. And you need to look at that, find the features and benefits, and then from there you can start looking around at the competition and seeing what's going on. And yeah, so often you just have that product. That's what you have to start. So a good thing to do to start writing is to look at your product. All right. So this chart, we have different types of headlines. So again, like the lead is how you start. There are different parts of the lead, different sections or different elements of the lead. And one of those elements is the headline. Sometimes what you're going to have is you're going to have a lead type that's, say, a promise lead, or it's better to say it like this. Sometimes you're going to have a lead type like a problem solution lead, but the headline is going to be a promise, and then the body copy is going to be a problem solution. Sometimes you're going to have a secret headline with a promise lead. It just kind of depends. It just kind of depends. So in the past, I had people try to guess what type of lead it was going to be, and sometimes it didn't really work because they can be mismatched. So sometimes your headline, not always, and a lot of times they're going to be the same, right? A lot of times you're going to have a secret headline with a secret lead. You're going to have a story headline, and then you're going to start with a story. Or in a lot of cases with the story lead, it's more like you're going to have a promise headline or a problem solution headline, and then you're going to have a story to start it. So that one actually is kind of broken a little bit. But in other words, what I'm saying is sometimes it's difficult to make a guess on what type of lead you're going to have versus what type of, like, if just by looking at the headline. Okay, so let's quickly go through and just like look at a few of these, and we can talk just maybe a little bit about modernizing these. So the first headline that we have here is the secret of making people like you. It would be great if I could have some feedback from everybody, but like live feedback here. Does this headline work in a modern setting? Does this headline work in a modern setting? Would you say that this headline is just kind of instantly swipeable? Crickets. Live feedback is just not a thing anymore. Thanks to Facebook changing up. I don't know what they've done, but I used to be able to do these Facebook Live. This is on YouTube, obviously. I used to be able to do Facebook Lives, and I'd have like, I mean, doesn't sound like that many, but like 20 people on, and we could do like live back and forth, but that's just a thing of the past. Yes. Okay, so I did get a response. Emily says, yes, I agree with Emily. Steve thinks it needs to be tweaked. Steve, how would you tweak it? How would you tweak it? So I think this kind of still works in my mind, but Steve, if you've got another, like if you've got an idea about how you could tweak it, awesome. The ones that need to be changed, stuff like a little mistake that cost a farmer $3,000 a year. Yeah, like everybody wants to be liked. It's almost, like now it would almost be like the secret to making people love you. It just kind of maybe would depend on the type of industry that you're working in. And like with these headlines too, these can be, you can use an assignment like this to come up with blog post ideas, email subject lines. It's not always going to be like your sales page headline would look anything like this. These could be banner ads that you're kind of coming up with. So a little mistake that cost a farmer $3,000 a year. Obviously, there's probably not, we're not here probably advertising to farmers, although that is a thing that I'm sure is going on. This could potentially still even work. But like now you'd probably want to increase that number by a lot more because farmers are probably operating at a lot larger scale than $3,000. $3,000 a year would probably be a blip for a lot of farmers these days. And so a little mistake is still a word that's definitely possible to use. A weird mistake, don't do this, are things that are more modern these days. A great place to go and check out is something like BuzzFeed. I don't even know like what's the hot thing, or like TMZ maybe. And here, I'll just pull these things up. These type of websites give you a really good idea on like what headlines are looking like these days. So Courtney Stodden shared an apology. Jason Biggs. It's so funny. Like I don't even know who. I mean, I know who that is. I don't know who this is. Following Chrissy Teigen's canceled post. I don't know. That's not really going to help me. 26 cleaning products for anyone whose home hasn't been deep cleaned since they moved in. That is that's an interesting one right there, because it seems very, very specific. That's good though. I'm obsessed with this American woman trolling her Italian boyfriend. So like, I'm obsessed with. That might be a good headline if I start seeing stuff like that before. You're going to you're going to see these headline themes that pop up again and again. Like Courtney didn't know she was going to die that night, or watch this until the very end. You'll be surprised at what happens at the end. That was like really popular for a very long time. You don't really see that too much anymore. The wildly viral allure. You're gonna tell how plugged in I am to the popular culture by me saying people's names and also not knowing who any of these people are. The wildly viral allures on dance is an elite TikTok because it's effortless and can't be replicated. An elite TikTok, like this one blows my mind a little bit too. Like I don't even know what's going on here. So something like this: 22 dumb celebrities who are actually smarter than you realize, actually smarter than you realize, actually than you realize, actually XYZ than you realize. That might be something to keep in mind. Let's see here. I'm just looking for kind of like themes here that can help us think about how we would modernize some of these headlines. This potentially could be something that people need to stop using. Three things. I mean, if you're working with a farmer, right? Like three chemicals farmers are using that they need to stop using. That doesn't really fit exactly. All right, I'm just looking for themes here. Let's see here. Something like Kang has arrived. Something has arrived. And this one, here we go. Joe Biden posted a thirst trap on Instagram. This is just, I feel so old right now. And people are losing their damn minds. That might be a little bit more of a modern way of saying things. These are good. These are good for ads and for headline, like advertising headlines, right? Facebook posts, potentially Facebook ads, and subject lines. This is kind of good stuff for subject lines here, right? Like the work that we're doing right now, going through these things and looking for concepts, themes that we can pull into our own. Okay, so this is a good one. I ranked all the guys Phoebe from Friends dated. Here's who was the best. I ranked, I rated, I deconstructed, I did this, and here is the best. Here was the best, right? All right. What's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you while public speaking? Okay, so that is that's like one of these, right? Don't we have one of these in here? I feel like this is one that's in here almost. Ever get tongue-tied at a party? All right. I thought there was one about somebody being embarrassed, but that's kind of a modern interpretation, right? What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you while public speaking? I know that there's one in here about being embarrassed. I just can't. It's going to be hard for me to do all of this while I'm presenting live here. But okay, do you do any of these 10 embarrassing things? That one still might even work, right? What's the, this is like, these are kind of similar. What's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened? And you could do something like this, like what's the most amount, what's the most amount of money you've ever lost while playing the stock market, while investing in the stock market? Something like that might be a good little headline or subject line to throw in. All right, let's go back here. 40, does your child embarrass you? Oh boy, yes, every day. No. God, I hate that headline though. Just like from a parent standpoint, like, shut up. If your kid is embarrassing you. So, all right. Basically, there's stuff like this. All right, like, have you a worry stock? Something important about this one is if you can give a name to something, a worry, a problem that people are having that they hadn't really thought about before, or is easily understandable. I shouldn't say or, I should say and is easily understandable. That's something to consider. Have you a worry stock? Like, are you worried about a particular stock? People don't talk like this anymore, though, right? So, like, do you have a worry stock? And like, what's a modern take on the word worry? Like how people are speaking. Let's see here. Maybe we can find it in one of these things here. This is a shot in the dark, but I'm going to start looking. So this is interesting, right? I rewatched the original Gossip Girl pilot and had a lot of thoughts. That's an interesting way to modernize what you're saying. Look at how these headlines are like a lot longer than a typical headline. A lot of them. I tried Korean shaved ice for the first time. This type of thing, I tried, and here's what happened. Or just, I tried this for the first time. I tried something unusual for the first time. That is a good type of subject line to work with. I knew this wasn't going to work out. Let's see here. I'm just looking for a way to modernize worry stock. Like, what's a different word for worry that would sound a little bit more modern? And suddenly I'm starving. Fast food connoisseurs are sharing the best menu hacks, and I'm suddenly starving. So something that I'm noticing just going through this, right, which I like, is that now headlines are turning into more of an I word. It's always been in the past about you, like, you're doing this, you do this, this is what you've been doing. It's more like, hey, I did this and I'm loving it. And this kind of really ties into our culture these days of having kind of mini niche celebrities and influencers in every facet of our lives. There's like there's an influencer of some sort, and we just want to know what that person is thinking. We're definitely in a celebrity, like we're a celebrity culture, right? So it's like, I did this and here's what I'm experiencing. So the I headlines are something that is shitcoin. Yeah, shitcoin. There we go. Perfect. Distressed. Is distressed modern? I don't know if distressed is modern, right? Um, like this doesn't really fit exactly what we're going for, but like an unethical stock, or people are worried about God, what do they call it now? Hold on one second. Uh, hold on one second. I was going back. I was looking at. There's a new service from Socially Responsible Investing. I was just looking back in my email. So they're talking about like a lot of companies now, like Betterment and Wealthfront and some of these other kind of robo investing companies are now offering like social responsibility, like socially responsible investing. So like, are you worried that your coin, or not your coins, are you worried that your investments are socially responsible? Are you worried about your socially responsible stock? Like something along those lines might work. It's a little bit difficult. I definitely gave myself a hard assignment there. So something like this is interesting too, right? 50 painfully awkward wrong number text that spiraled way out of control. Way. Like, can you imagine this headline being written back in the day? Absolutely not. But can you take this underlying theme, discover the fortune that lies hidden in your salary? I mean, we need to move away from those, because BuzzFeed isn't really about business or anything. Let's see here. The crimes we commit against our stomachs is like an awesome one that I feel like could work again. That sounds modern to me. Let's see here. Throw away your oars. Let's see. I feel like a lot of these are business related. How any auto repair job can be duck soup for you. That's not modern. All right. Suppose this happened on your wedding day. So you would never say suppose this happened on your wedding day. Like, can you believe what happened on their wedding day would be something more. And I did see some. Okay, here we go. Say I do or I don't to these Disney wedding dresses, and we'll reveal how happy your marriage will be. Definitely not exactly the same, but definitely something to keep in mind. All right, let's go. I'm trying to just find some more themes here. Those are some of the good stuff to look at are the quizzes and everything. Is getting dragged by people on Twitter. Dragged. All right. You may have never seen before. That might be something that would be interesting. This mom caught the moment on camera when a tree fell through her roof, nearly killing her baby. This person caught something on camera, did this, and so it obviously needs to be dramatic. All right, so I'm gonna kind of cut it off there, and maybe we can take a look at some of the headlines that you guys were coming up with. Do you buy boomer stocks? That's awesome. Good job, Max. Yeah, boomer stock. That like makes immediate sense to people, right? Boomer stocks. Like, don't buy another boomer stock, or don't buy this boomer stock. That is really good. Awesome job, Max. That's the kind of thing. Like, this is the kind of exercise that you want to go through, and this is fun, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm having fun scrolling through BuzzFeed, trying to figure this stuff out. So, have fun with it. Definitely have fun with it. Especially when you're in the ideas phase, right? Like in the very beginning, just go as deep and as strange and as weird as you can, and you can always step back from there. It's a lot harder to take something that's mundane and make it more exciting. So make it too exciting, make it too ridiculous, and then step back from there. And that's what this culture is. That's what this culture is. We've got influencer culture, we've got celebrity culture. People are over the top. Look at our last president, man. Crazy over the top stuff going on, right? And that's the culture like that brought him into office. That's the culture, that we're living in right now. So start at over the top and then take a step back. Like, do you buy these boomer stocks, or are you buying these boomer stocks, or is your robo investor buying these boomer stocks, or like something along those lines? Like, that is an attractive, interesting headline that you could write, depending on what you're using it for and where it's going. That's a headline, man. That is an exciting headline. It's different. It's unusual. It's over the top. It's awesome. Okay. So, Martina, did I get this assignment right? Yep. Yes, that's right. Well, if you got through even writing out 100 headlines and then trying to model them for yourself is tough. When mindset coaches doubt themselves, this is what they do. That's good. That's really good. Advice to moms whose families don't value their time. That's good as well. That's very good. 5 familiar time management issues. Which one do you want to overcome? Okay. When you want to overcome all of them, that's the only part of it that I'm stuck on. But very good. Discover the true joy that lies hidden in your day-to-day life. Okay, that's good. Whose fault when you haven't got enough time? Whose fault is it when you haven't got enough time? So these are good. These are good. I'd like to see some spicing it up. Some spicing it up on those. But those are very good, and they sound pretty modern to me. They sound pretty modern, I think. Are there any other headlines? I'm not sure if anybody else submitted anything. Okay, I think I already went over some of these. All right. Well, I don't have any others to look at. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about today? I do have some people here live. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know. If there's any other part of this assignment that we can walk through, we can definitely do it. Why do so many headlines have number lists in them, like 20 celebrities, the 5 craziest? Are we all fascinated in reading lists? Yes. 100%. 100%. Start using lists. A lot of people get burned out or jaded by the list thing for some reason. Like, oh God, not another list post. Dude, I think that's how BuzzFeed started. It was just list posts. And look at how crazy huge it got. Everybody likes a list post. We like to have just certain bullet points to latch onto. And it's just one of those things, you can't fight it. You can't fight it. I mean, you can fight it, but why would you fight it? Don't fight it, feel it. There's a video game that I used to play. It was like a snowboarding video game. I think it was on PlayStation. And it was always like, you'd be riding down the hill and it would say, don't fight it, feel it. And that stuck with me from like age 8 years old on. Numbers are also a great way to create oddly specific curiosity. There we go. I like that. Not so much in a list post. That's not necessarily oddly specific unless it's like a really weird number. But reading things in chunks like that just makes it easier for our brains to latch on. So if you can write a list post, great. Does every headline have to be a list post? Absolutely not. Um, uh, 20 well-known, 34. Yeah, I mean, it's just uh, they're in here, but it's not every single one, right? Uh, 19 people are having way, way, way worse week than you are. Um, yeah, I mean, 31 things for under $50. Just so darn comfy, like darn, damn, comfy. Like those type of words are definitely usable, right? 31 things under $50 from Target that just looks so darn comfy. So darn comfy. I'd just like pay attention to that, right? Instead of 31 things under $50 from Target ending there, you got that just looks so darn comfy. That's like kind of the modern take on it. So a lot of these headlines that you're going to find in here can make use of like that I'm using are so darn comfy. Just adding like uh, a little bit of something to it, a little bit of personality or a little bit of your opinion, even as the writer. Okay, looks like something from Max here. Profits that lie hidden in your farm modernized to flex on. I'm not even gonna know. Flex on. I don't even know what that is. City yachts with these amazing cash yields. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but I love it. I don't know what a city yacht is. And maybe I'm an idiot for not knowing what a city yacht is. A city yacht. An idiot from the city. All right. I guessed it correctly. That's amazing. That's amazing. So obviously, if you were trying to market to me a mid-30s individual, I don't know if that like maybe I don't know, maybe it will work. Flex on City, that's awesome. Max, I love it. With these amazing cash yields, it's great. Max is on top of it. Your brain is firing today. I love it. All right. So, Max, I'd like to see you just go through all of these and make them amazing, because I feel like you could go through all of these and make these amazingly relevant. Something that's maybe terrifying, or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just interesting. One of my friends is extremely funny, like kills me every time I'm with him just by talking to him. And he watches the news, which I don't recommend anybody do. And he basically knows what's going on. He knows what's going on. I mean, he watches the news, listens to Barstool Sports. He's on Instagram all the time. He basically knows what's going on in popular culture at our advanced age. And he also works with a lot of young people as well. So he kind of has his finger on the pulse of what's going on, and it makes him extremely funny, because everything is kind of related back to modern times, what's happening now. But then he also has a great memory, and he can bring back stuff from when we were kids that's will make you laugh as well. But it's really fascinating. Like, part of what makes him really funny is having this finger on the pulse of what's happening now. And that can be terrifying, because I don't want to keep up with all the new things that are happening. That's exhausting. So there almost needs to be like a what's happening in modern culture for what are we? Are we Generation X or Y, or I don't even know what we are. So there should be something like that. Does that ever exist? Like what's happening now for people my age, like in their mid-30s? I don't know. It's just basically what I'm saying is it's terrifying, because who wants to keep up with all that stuff? Who wants to keep up with all that stuff? But if you do keep up with it, you can do amazing things and write really amazing headlines, and email subject lines. Do you have to do that? No, especially if you're really just trying to be a freelance copywriter. You're going to be talking, at least these days, to a lot of the boomer generation, right? Those are the people that have a lot of money and continue to have a lot of money. The younger generations, you might get attention, like something like BuzzFeed's going to get you attention, right? You're going to get eyeballs, and then you're going to get advertisers on there that are going to get clicks, and you're going to make money if you can draw an attention that way. So a little, obviously a different business model than what a lot of freelance copywriters in this group would be doing, which is trying to write sales pages, long form sales pages, videos for companies that are advertising to boomers. So, I don't know. It's interesting. You got to kind of figure out where you fit in. Are you just trying to grab attention from a large group of people? Then you probably need to familiarize yourself with what's going on in the modern world. Anyways, marketing to rural folk. All right, so that's it. I'm going to jump off. If you guys have any questions, please keep dumping them into the Facebook group. For now, I'm really liking this circle thing, the circle groups that we've got. So I'm probably going to try to install that for CopyHour, and then from there we're all good. So look out for an email from me about scheduling the first kind of wrap up. It'll be week 2 wrap up call for next week, private on Zoom. We can go from there. Can your friend create a daily newsletter to tell us the 5 things to know each day so we don't have to watch the news? I think it's a good idea. I feel like it already exists, though. I feel like it already exists. Yeah. Should be something for us millennials to keep up with what's happening now, since we're newly on the outside looking in on popular culture, and maybe a solid blog company idea where the FOMO is strong, while the FOMO is strong. Hey guys, if you create that blog or you create that newsletter, I get 5%. That's the only deal. 5%. All right. That's it. I'm going to jump off. It's a really good idea. I don't know. Somebody should look into that. Look into that, Steve and Max, and let me know. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. But maybe it's not a good idea. But maybe you could use the weekend launch party to see if it is a good idea. That's a beautiful use of the weekend launch party. Okay. I will talk to you guys later.